A warm welcome to the news at this hour on NT International. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Now let's take the headlines. President Buhari promises to address infrastructure deficits with supreme premium on power sector. Supreme Court upholds the elections of governors of Benue and Adamawa states, dismisses appeals against their victories. Operation Lafia Doli declares Maiduguri-Damaturu Highway safe. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations to Nigeria as they play on Group C at the Confederation of African Football. Moving on, the first UK-Africa summit has ended in London with the British government announcing new initiatives worth over £1.5 billion expected to massively create job opportunities across Africa. The United Kingdom has also offered to mobilize private investment valued at over £2.4 billion for African countries. The Secretary Department for International Development, Alok Sharma, made this known while declaring the summit closed. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Nigeria and 20 other African countries that account for over 80% of Africa's economy participated at the summit christened Partnership for Prosperity. Organizers believe that as Africa grows and develops, international partnerships and investment will be key to unleashing that potential and delivering a better future for all. United Kingdom wants to be that investment partner of choice for Africa, an ambition clearly shared by participants.
And as we get Brexit done, we want a closer trading partnership with African nations. Today, CDC has agreed new investments worth £300 million and are committed to invest a further £2 billion in Africa over the next 2 years. And what makes the UK different is our recognition that this huge investment needs to be felt by local communities across the whole of Africa. Everyone must share in prosperity.
Some members on President Buhari's delegation to the summit described Nigeria's participation as a worthwhile undertaking.
We've seen throughout this summit, there's been quite a lot of focus on Nigeria, and I think there's a realization that Nigeria is very much a market and a people that it's worth engaging with. So I think we go away with our stock higher and greater confidence in the country, and of course we hope to see this translated into concrete investment, greater trade between the two countries, but very importantly, greater investment in Nigeria by the British.
It's only when you have contact and you are relating well with the business communities that you can attract investment. And without investment, you cannot generate trade. And when you generate trade, automatically it dovetails to generating employment and engagement in economic activities. That is what it is all about. And I think we've achieved a lot in that regard.
We are likely now to begin to see a re-engagement that will be beneficial not only for the many African economies, but also for the UK. It means that Nigeria will have a head start in any rebuilding of business and investment relations with the UK. Nigeria can lead the way for other African countries to follow.
Some governors on the entourage of President Muhammadu Buhari used the opportunity to mingle and network with potential investors.
The 40 megawatts Dadinko Dam that has already been finished will be commissioned soon by the president, and Gombe State is advancing ahead to provide an industrial park that will attract major investors. So far, we've gotten to a level of understanding, agreeing with development partners, the DFID, the Commonwealth Development Corporation, and other business partners that will come and invest, especially in agro-allied processing and manufacturing, and we shall succeed, inshallah.
At the tertiary level, we are also promoting Enyimba Economic City, and we are looking for companies that can provide infrastructure, both in areas of transportation and in buildings and roads, to match with our desire to do groundbreaking for Enyimba Economic City very, very soon. I'm satisfied and happy that within the first day of this conference that I was able to break through.
In a write-up making a case for Commonwealth based on trade, President Muhammadu Buhari called for greater UK engagement in Nigeria's economy, saying, as the largest economy in Africa with nearly 200 million people, it has a great deal to offer. He said millions of highly skilled, underemployed young people are eager to work, but without the opportunities that foreign investment can bring to create jobs and build businesses. From London, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still on the sidelines of the summit, President Muhammadu Buhari has restated the commitment of his administration towards addressing infrastructure deficit, especially in the power sector, which he described as critical to Nigeria's next-level agenda. To this end, he solicited continued support from the World Bank in the task of improving transparency, service delivery and investors' confidence in the sector. The president stated this at an audience with the president of the BAC, David Malpass, on the sidelines of the UK African Investment Summit in London. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo once again reports.
Nigeria is at the moment enjoying a $486 million World Bank credit facility for the rehabilitation and upgrading of electricity transmission substation lines across the country, approved in 2018. The investments under the Nigeria Electricity Transmission Project will increase the power transfer capacity of the transmission network and ultimately contribute towards ensuring adequate and reliable power supply necessary for Nigeria's continued economic development. At this meeting with the World Bank officials, President Muhammadu Buhari underscored the urgency of reliable, accessible and affordable power supply as genuine efforts are made to take Nigeria to the next level of development. The World Bank, he emphasized, needs to do much more towards achieving the objectives.
It was really a question of looking at ongoing discussions between Nigeria and the World Bank, and in particular the engagement of the World Bank in supporting Nigeria's power sector, and there is ongoing cooperation already, and so the president of the World Bank sort of reaffirmed the commitment of the World Bank to continue to engage with Nigeria in the various areas of that Nigeria needs, financial support.
The current intervention by the World Bank being implemented through to the year 2021 is aimed at addressing key bottlenecks in the transmission network, as well as improve access and reliable power supply to Nigerian citizens.
On our side, it's a question of being very clear the direction we want to go as you address power challenges. Don't put all the stress on the poor, in terms of tariffs and so forth. And the World Bank, fully understood this. So we have a very clear, sense of where we want to go. And there was a meeting of minds, I think, with the World Bank, and they are supportive.
From London, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the 2020 World Economic Forum has opened in Switzerland, focusing on issues hindering income equality, societal unity and climate change. The forum is coming at a time the attention of African leaders is doing business with the United Kingdom. Musa Babali reports that only few African countries are participating in the World Economic Forum.
This year's World Economic Forum makes the 50th meeting of the forum since its inauguration by German economist Klaus Schwab. It is a forum where global economy is analyzed by political experts and world leaders.
Together we will make our nations stronger, our countries safer, our culture richer, our people freer.
It is necessary to move beyond short-term technological or economic approaches and to give full consideration to the ethical dimension in seeking resolutions to present problems or proposing initiatives for the future.
African leaders as well as their businessmen have been active in the yearly event. However, the 2020 forum is coming with a difference. Only 3 African leaders have indicated interest in participating. They are Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, Macky Sall of Senegal, and Felix Tshisekedi of Congo. Other African leaders, including President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, are currently in the United Kingdom for UK Africa Investment Summit, organized by the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. British Prime Minister was reported to have restricted his ministers from Davos as he hosts African leaders ahead of Brexit. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And out to foreign stories, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent warm greetings to President Xi Jinping and the citizens of People's Republic of China as they celebrated China's Lunar Year from January 25. President Donald Trump impeachment trial is underway. For these and more stories making the headlines across the globe, let's join Justin Bem Nguyen.
Hello and welcome to this segment of the news. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a formal letter, recounts the strides being taken in Nigeria-China relations and says the two countries have new opportunities for mutual benefits. He said that the past year has also been a productive one for China-Nigeria relations. President Muhammadu Buhari says the all-round, wide-ranging and high-quality bilateral cooperation between Nigeria and China has been further intensified and the belief in the One China policy reaffirmed. Considering the fact that this year is also the 20th anniversary of Forum for China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, the President affirms his delight to see that FOCAC has become an effective platform between Nigeria and China and achieved major progress of boosting concrete trade and cooperation and benefiting people of both countries. President Buhari has wished President Xi Jinping of China that the year of the rat witnesses the common development of the two countries and a better life for peoples. In other news, China's top leaders have warned lower-level officials not to cover up the spread of a new coronavirus that has now infected nearly 300 people. The political body responsible for law and order said anyone who concealed new cases would be nailed on the pillar of shame for eternity. The warning came as state media said 6 people had now died from the virus, which causes a type of pneumonia. It's been confirmed the virus can pass from person to person. The World Health Organization will on Wednesday consider declaring an international public health emergency over the virus, as it did with swine flu and Ebola. Such a declaration, if made, will be seen as an urgent call for a coordinated international response. And that's it from here. My name is Justin Bemunyi.
Thank you so much, Justin. And in other news, Nigeria and 7 other members of the Developing 8 Countries D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation have signed an agreement to strengthen commitment towards the implementation of the bloc's health and social protection program. Usman Aliyu has details.
The organization came into being in 1997 with the agenda of economic cooperation, but the target for the economic sustainability the organization observed is affected by the dynamics of contemporary challenges such as poverty, hunger and diseases amidst growing population of the bloc. Sequel to this, the organization resolved on initiatives to uplift its people by amplifying pillars of health and social protection program. Now the deal has been signed with a high-level diplomatic agreement citing the headquarters of the program in Abuja.
The adoption of the health and social protection program by the D8 member countries is therefore timely in assisting member states to reduce poverty and inequality, as well as boost healthcare delivery.
Resources will be leveraged to fund the key intervention pillars of health, nutrition and poverty, namely access to essential health services, improving the quality of care, governance and human resources for health, preventing non-communicable diseases and providing social protection.
A document on strategy that will guide the operation of the program is expected to be developed soon. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. Let's take a break now. More reports when we return. Stay with us.
NTAI has gone mobile. Catch your favorite programs anywhere in the world. by going to Play Store on Android and App Store on iOS. Search for Vision TV UK, download and install. Then you're good to go.
Thanks for staying with us. Now let's beam our searchlight on meteorology. No imminent danger associated with flooding is anticipated this year, going by the 2020 seasonal rainfall prediction released by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. On Ngate Fine Face reports, however, that heavy rainfall and dry spell are to be expected.
NIMET's rainfall prediction for 2020 indicates a near normal to earlier than normal growing season, with earliest onset likely to occur on 24th February in coastal cities of the South-South, while northern cities like Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Jigawa, Yobe and Borno states will have onset from 2nd June. Earlier cessation date of around 26 September is expected around Katsina and Sokoto states, while latest cessation date of 28 December is expected in the Niger Delta region. The length of growing season for 2020 is expected to range from 110 to 160 days in the Sahelian region of the north and 210 to 280 days in the south. Amount of rainfall will range from 400 millimeters in the north to about 3,000 millimeters in the south. Dry spell is expected in the months of June and July to last from 10 to 21 days in some states of the north. Farmers are advised to avoid early planting due to false start, which is predicted to have greater frequency. They are also advised to adopt moisture conservation techniques to avoid losses during the dry season.
To address the challenges of extreme weather events and climate change, NIMET predicts and publishes the expected annual rainfall pattern over the entire country in pursuance of its mandate of advising government and the general public on all aspects of weather and climate-related matters.
Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET's prediction for 2020 also covers temperature forecasts and implications of the outlook on agriculture, water resources management, power generation and distribution, health, transportation, aviation and climate conditions. In Abuja, Onengiye Fine Face, NC News.
Now move to the judiciary. The Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Samuel Ortom as the governor of Benue State and that of Hamadu Fintiri as governor of Adamawa State. The 7-man panel of justices led by Justice Bode Rhodes Vivo dismissed the 2 appeals for lacking in merit. Viera Chomba reports.
In a unanimous judgment of the 7-man panel led by Justice Bode Rhodes, the Supreme Court, in upholding the submissions of the respondent counsels, said it aligned its decision with the concurrent judgment of the lower courts. In addition, stated that the barometer for measuring overvoting remained the card reader, which was not proved. Counsel to Emmanuel Jime, Yusuf Ali, urged the court to nullify the re-election of Samuel Ortom on the grounds that the difference between the number of accredited voters recorded by the card reader machine and the number of votes recorded were at variance. INEC counsel E.E. Ugonna urged the court to dismiss the appeal because the appellants have no evidence, either documentary or oral, to back up the appeal. Counsel to Ortom, Sebastian Horn, said apart from the contradictions between pleadings and results declared, the appellant's case predicted on card reader machine lacked merit, as the card reader issue was struck out at the tribunal. Counsel to PDP Chris Uche said the appellant's case suffered acute evidential deficiency, both in quality and quantity.
Now, the mandate given by the good people of Benue State to Governor Ortom has been judicially approved.
The Supreme Court equally affirmed Hamadu Fintiri of PDP as validly elected governor of Adamawa State. The court held that the APC and its candidate Jibrila Bindo failed to prove their allegations that Fintiri emerged through overvoting. Justice Mohammed Datigo, who read the leaked judgment, held that the appellant did not prove that voting from the disputed 385 polling units in dispute led to the victory of the incumbent. In Abuja, Viera Chinwoba, NTA News.
Away from the judiciary, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reappointment of Dr. Sam Ankeli as a senior special assistant on disability matters. The president also reappointed Shehu Garba as special assistant disability matters. The appointments take effect from October 15, 2019. Moving on. Following incident attacks and kidnappings along Maiduguri-Damaturu Road, the theatre commander, Operation Lafia Dole Major General Olusegun Gabriel Adeniyi says the highway is now safe as the military has re-strategized and intensified patrols to deal decisively with Boko Haram terrorists on the road. The theatre commander says there will be no more checkpoints along the route, but strong mobile operation teams. Maimuna Garba reports.
The growing fear and tension due to insecurity on the highway necessitated the theatre commander to call for the press conference, considering the importance of the road to Borno State, as it is so far the only safe exit and entry point, as well as linked to other parts of the country. Major General Olusegun Adeniyi said the resurgence of activities of terrorists on the highway was as a result of failure by the terrorists to achieve their goal of establishing a caliphate, thereby had to transform from terrorist to a marauding band of criminals, stressing that the military has degraded the Boko Haram terrorists, which made them resort to attacking soft targets.
I want to assure every Nigerian not to fear Boko Haram. Maiduguri Damaturu Road is very safe.
General Adeniyi further announced that there will be no checkpoints from Jimtulo to Kukareta, stressing that military has intensified clearance and long-range patrols with heavy military presence, among others.
And no vehicle should stop for them. The time for opening, which is 8 o'clock, will continue to remain. And then the present timing of closing that road by 6 o'clock will remain.
The theatre commander further assured Nigerians of the military's commitment to rescue those abducted by the terrorists in Maiduguri. Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
As part of efforts to engender economic activities in Ondo State, the Niger Delta Development Commission says work will soon commence on Araromi-Ilaje Lagos Road to link Niger Delta coastal communities in Lagos State. The Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Tayo Alasho-Adura, said this when he paid a courtesy call on Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State.
The Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Tayo Alasho-Adura, explained that the visit was informed by the need to take stock of over 12,000 abandoned projects embarked upon by the NDDC, saying the Commission will not initiate new contracts until the abandoned ones are executed.
Mr. President agreed with us that we should go for what we call legacy projects. And what I have chosen as the number one legacy project of Ondo State is that link road. And one other thing that I've discussed with our representative at the National Assembly is that we are going to take the road off Osopade and give it straight to NDDC.
The minister appreciated the governor for supporting the commission in actualizing its mandates. Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu expressed support for the ongoing forensic audit of the NDDC, commended the efforts at revisiting abandoned projects of the commission in the state.
Of the skill acquisition sector, we want to thank you. The limited space for now and fund that Polytechnic has, this skill acquisition center will be an advantage for them.
The minister was in Ondo State to assess various abandoned projects of the Niger Delta Development Commission in the state. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
To condolences, President Muhammadu Buhari condoles with justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria and National Judicial Council over the passing of Justice Abubakar Bashir Wali, one of the pioneer legal practitioners from northern Nigeria. The president joins Kano Emirate Council, family members, close associates and professional colleagues in mourning Justice Wali, who was the first judge of Sharia Court of Appeal from the north after rising through the ranks and later reaching the peak as Justice of the Supreme Court. President Buhari affirms the worthy contributions of Justice Wali to the development of the country, starting out early in 1945 after his primary school education and ensuring delivery of sound judgment on landmark cases that have since become reference in Nigeria's judiciary. The president prays that the Almighty God will accept the soul of the departed and comfort his family. Next is a quick look at the weather prospect for Nigeria and other cities around the world. And that ends the news at this hour on NT International. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Don't forget to join us at 9 for the Network News. Good evening.